Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah everyone for joining us again for another episode of the Ali Brothers podcast. I'm delighted to be here today with our brother Khalil. Assalamu alaikum,
Salam
brother. It's very
rahmatullah.
nice
How
to
are
be
you?
here with you.
Nice to meet you too, brother.
So we're here with our brother here today to discuss a new organization, a youth organization, and an upcoming event, the first of its kind really, as far as I know.
Inshallah.
And we're very excited for this event, inshallah. We're going to talk to our brother about this event, about himself, and also what's planned ahead, because you've given us a tour of this place, mashallah, and alhamdulillah, it has a ton of potential. We're very excited. It's the first time we're seeing your offices, and it really is amazing. So, Brother Khalil, could you please just start off just telling us a little bit about your background, and then inshallah we can move into talking about the organization and what you have planned, inshallah.
Of course. Well, first of all, thank you for hosting me and for allowing me to be a guest on your podcast. My name is Khalil Ben Mohamed. I was born in London to an Irish mother, a Tunisian father. I've been living in Dublin since 1997, so I've been here quite a while. Most of my work experience has been in community work. Alhamdulillah, I was one of the founding members of Islamic Relief in Ireland. I worked with the organization between 2013 and 2019. And so pretty much, give or take, I've been involved in community work for a decade. I also have some experience in coaching, my own coaching business and stuff like that. But now I'm back as the general manager for 3 different projects. So we are a team of 5 that are working together on Young Muslim Eire, which is a new youth organization in Ireland. But as well as that, we have the Select Aid charity organization and the Horizon podcast. So we're working on 3 projects. We've launched Select Aid. We're in the process of launching Young Muslim Eire, and inshallah we'll also be launching the Horizon podcast at our event on the 17th of September. So I guess that's a...
brother, just out of personal interest, you're talking about your coaching business. Is this any specific field or just
it's like
general?
a mindset, coaching, that kind of stuff, helping people to develop self-confidence and clarity and that kind of stuff in their lives, So
Okay, is it
got some
specific to the youth?
experience. Most people that I worked with were young, mostly university students, but I have worked with some older people as well, people in their 40s and 50s and stuff like that. So
Okay.
yeah.
And is it mainly Muslims coming to yourself, or also?
I would say 80% Muslims, yeah.
Okay,
So
okay.
I've personally coached about 100 people now myself.
Okay, mashallah.
Personally, yeah. So some in a group setting, some one-to-one as well. So yeah.
I think there's actually a great need for that kind of coaching, especially if you have some experience. We were talking earlier about how, really, especially for myself growing up, there wasn't any kind of youth organization, and how do we socialize as Muslims? Obviously, look, I love Ireland, but there's a very limited amount of socialization we can do as Muslims. It's just how the culture is. But growing up, it was always kind of, especially for my generation, it was almost a crisis of identity. I hate talking about or labeling it like that, but that's really what it was. It's like, okay, we know we're Muslim, but are we? And then we kind of revert back to, okay, maybe I'm just Pakistani, or I don't really feel that way, or whichever country kind of our parents are from, our ancestors are from, but I feel more Irish in this regard, but I don't kind of take part in these activities.
Yeah.
So I think there's a great need for that kind of guidance from people who have the experience, who have been through that, because the youth these days, I find, especially in our community in Waterford as well, I mean, I'm sure it's everywhere, that they really are quite lost. And although we've kind of increased in number, they're still as lost as my generation was back all those years ago. So I think that kind of coaching in general, it really, really helps, especially and specifically with Muslims living in Western countries. The UK is very different in that regard, because they kind of have their own identity. There's the organizations, it's well established, the Muslim community over there.
Correct.
But Ireland, I mean, there's not that much.
We have a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very strange how close we are to them geographically, but just on this front, we're way behind.
Correct.
And that's one of the things that really interested us with regards to your organization in particular, that there really needs to be something that brings that community together, especially the youth, to give them that understanding of, okay, what is it like to socialize as Muslims? What is it like to come together? And I think now it's just a really necessary time to have something like that.
Yeah.
So with regards to your event, how did that come about? When did this kind of idea first come about for yourselves?
So I was part of a group of, there was about 7 of us, myself and a group of volunteers. We used to meet in Griffith College every Saturday morning for about, I'd say, 3 months in 2017. And we sat down for 2 hours just to discuss an idea. So the idea was, look, we've got some great people in our community that are doing great things from amongst the youth, whether it's in sports, whether it's in academia, whether it's in business, whether it's in Quran. So many different fields. We have young Muslims who are excelling. Yet one of the things that we noticed was there's no recognition for these people at a community level. Perhaps maybe Quran schools might do something for their students, but we could do more to recognize the top achievers within our community. So the plan back then was to establish an organization called Young Muslim Achievers, and the sole exclusive purpose of this organization was to run an annual award ceremony for the young Muslims in Ireland who are excelling in their fields. But unfortunately at the time we lacked the capacity, the resources, the expertise to make it happen. So alhamdulillah, when I joined the team this year of the 3 kind of projects that we're launching, I put the idea forward to the team. I said, look, I've got a great idea. I think it will really benefit the youth. It will benefit, various Muslim communities and families. In my mind, this is a necessary event. And bi'idhnillah, it's going to push things forward. It's going to create new connections. It's going to inspire the youth. A lot of khair is going to come out of this event, inshallah. Sure. So, alhamdulillah, I'm very happy and pleased and privileged to be part of a team that is actually executing on this idea. And we are going to be hosting the first National Muslim Youth Award ceremony in Ireland on September 17th, bi'idhnillah. And we're going to have a lot of prizes we're going to be distributing to the top achieving Muslim youth. So we're doing prizes for 6 different categories: Quran, sports, academia, business, community work, and social media. So there's going to be a first, second, and third prize in each of the 6 categories. So there'll be a total of 18 prizes to be distributed on the night. We received 220 nominations, alhamdulillah.
Okay,
so the word got out there, we were visiting community leaders in different parts of the country, and we had nominations from Dundalk, from Kerry, from Killarney, from Waterford, from Meath, from Belfast, from so many different places. So the way we are selecting the winners is these 220 nominations have been sent to a group of judges. We have 8 judges who are working with us as volunteers. Each of the judges is scoring the nominations based on a number of different criteria, and they are scoring them, and then the highest scores are their winners. So each of the judges choosing their winners. So they're casting votes, basically. Each judge is saying, right, I've reviewed and analyzed all the nominations, and based on this criteria, I'm selecting these winners. And then the judges are submitting their winners. So the winners who have the highest number of votes from the judges will be the prize winners, inshallah. And we want to try and raise awareness about what the process is behind the selection of the winners, because we believe it's important to be transparent about this. And we're going to be talking about it at the event, actually. So because naturally enough, there'll be people that will be nominated and they're not going to win a prize. And we want to let them know, look, we want to try to be fair. We want to try to be transparent. So this is the best and fairest way that we felt we can choose the winners, So all of this is going to be explained at the event, inshallah. So the event is going to be a conference-style event that'll be from the morning till the evening. We're planning to get started at around 11 a.m. So we're splitting the program into 2 parts. So part 1 is where most of the speakers, so we've got 6 speakers, but we're also going to slot in some entertainment as well. So we're going to have different competitions with spot prizes. Then there'll be roughly an hour and 20 minutes for lunch and dhuhr. So we're going to, there's actually a restaurant in the venue. So we're going to try split, let the sisters go and have their lunch while the brothers pray dhuhr. And then when the sisters come back into the main hall or the auditorium, and then the brothers can go have their lunch. And then we'll have the second part of the event. So we'll have 2 speakers. Then we have a nasheed artist coming. And then there'll be the prize. So we're actually doing 2 award ceremonies. So we're doing the youth award ceremony. That's kind of the main feature of the event. But as well as that, we're doing an award ceremony for community leaders, for people that have dedicated, we're not talking years, we're talking decades of their lives to serving the Muslim community. So we have trophies for them. It's not something, so expensive or whatever it is, but it's the gesture, I think, which is important to them. for us as the younger generation to say to our elders, to the people that came and established the foundation for the Muslims in Ireland, to say, look, we appreciate what you've done for us, you know. And I've been in community work for a long time, and believe me, there's some incredible people who are doing incredible work behind the scenes, and these are the real heroes. They're unsung heroes that we have in our community. We take so many things for granted. You go into the mosque, you do your prayers, you have the services, but you know, we don't kind of think or spend enough time thinking or reflecting, how do these organizations operate? And it's the people really that make these things happen. And I mean, where would we be without the masajid, without the various organizations and institutions that are providing us with these services? So we're going to have an award ceremony for a number of community leaders, and we're calling it Legends of the Community Awards. So we've sent out personal invitations to a variety of community leaders, and we'll just be handing over a trophy to them at the event, inshallah, just to say to them, look, we're grateful for the work that you've done. And there'll be some, inshallah, very senior community leaders at the event. And then, of course, we have the main award ceremony for the youth. So that's kind of how we're planning to... We're still working on the second draft of the event schedule at the moment, so it's looking good, alhamdulillah. And it's going to be a very action-packed, fun, exciting event. And, you know, I think it'll be a very memorable one for everyone who attends.
The team must be quite stressed out at this stage. Or?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I have to say my sleep hasn't been as good as it usually is over the last few nights. I don't know if that's the heat. It's been very warm. You know, I think my duvet is too thick, or maybe I'm stressed out about the event. I'm not really sure. It's probably a combination of those things. But yeah, I mean, you know, there's a lot at stake, and we really are. This event is going to be a labor of love. I can tell you that much. We are not doing this for fame or recognition or money or any of those things. And from a financial standpoint, we're estimating about 20K is going into this event just to make it happen. And we just want to cover our costs. That's it, you know. So it's really about the impact. And bi'idhnillah, there's going to be, I mean, I'm talking to different community leaders. They're telling me all their youth are very excited about this event. Some communities are like hiring coaches to bring all their youth together. So it's going to be like a nice day out for them to come together to Dublin to attend the event and then go back home in the evening. But like I mentioned to you before, you know, this is not just going to be an event and then that's it. Like, although inshallah will be a great event, but we are going to be announcing our plans for Young Muslims Eire going forward. And bi'idhnillah, we are going to have our own premises, our own youth club, and we're going to be sharing our schedule, inshallah. Our aim is to launch our youth club, I'd say, close to the end of October / early November. So it'll probably be a month and a half or so between the time of the event and the launch of the youth club. We're just going to have to make sure we have everything ready and everything's in place and stuff like that.
Pretty soon.
Yeah, so we're going to do an open day, end of October, early November, for the families that have registered their children. People at the event will have an opportunity to register their kids for the youth club. So we're going to be working with 12 to 16 boys and 17 to 21. And then for the girls, we're going to start off with one group, 13 to 19, inshallah. And each group will have its schedule. Each group will have its own leader. We have a number of educators that we're going to be working with as well. Some will be coming in to do halaqas. Some will be coming in to deliver trainings or workshops or seminars. So yeah, we've got a lot of exciting stuff in the pipeline, inshallah. And I'm pretty sure like everybody that comes to the event is going to really enjoy it. I mean, it's going to be a long event, but there'll be lots of breaks. And, you know, there's going to be some fun, some entertainment. There'll be live nasheeds. It's not just going to be all talks. Like, I know we're only capable of taking in so much information at a time, you know. But, like, alhamdulillah, we've got a great panel of speakers. And my youth leader is going to be there, Sheikh Mustafid Ghani, who's flying in from the UK to speak at the event. And he's someone that had a tremendous impact on not just me, but you know, a lot of Muslim youth I was raised with, you know, and I can safely say that if it weren't for the contributions of, you know, Mustafid and other people, you know, Brother Zahri from the ICCI and another individual who had a big role to play when we were young is Nabil. He's no longer here. But I don't think I would be here having this conversation with you if it weren't for the contributions of these people. You know, they planted seeds. Obviously, I didn't know that at the time, but now in hindsight, I can see they planted seeds in my mind that blossomed many years later on. You know, and I'm very thankful for these individuals because they helped me get through probably the most challenging years of my life, you know. When you are the age of 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, these kind of ages, it is very, very, very easy, and especially if you have a bad group of friends, to make one wrong decision that can alter your life. That's all it takes, you know. And I've seen it happen, and it's sometimes it's sad to see that, you know, mistakes can be made that you know, could potentially have life-altering consequences, you know? So,
Absolutely, yeah. I
yeah.
think you know, the importance of mentors. It's massive. Even when, for example, the mentors or the parents, they're doing everything correct, or let's say, you know, by the book or perfect.
Yeah.
There's always that potential, especially if you live in a certain kind of a society and you don't have the right environment. Or maybe even have a particular kind of a personality. Maybe I'm referring to myself, but that's just how it is. You might you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and that's it.
Yeah.
And we all feel that kind of vulnerability around that age that you're talking about.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
myself included. And
Yeah.
we were very lucky with our parents to kind of, they worked very, very hard. And it all, you know, I would like to think it worked out in the end, or hopefully in the end
I
it will
believe it
work
did.
out,
I believe
inshallah.
it did.
But there's always that thing that you feel maybe you go the wrong way, or you influence the wrong way, or you have the wrong ideas about where you want to go.
Yeah.
And everybody has the potential to go either way, and that's why it's so important for us to have those mentors, those role models.
Correct.
And I always say, you know, specifically, it hits different when they are specific to like your community, let's say,
Yes.
or they look like you, or they're down the road, they have the same accent as yours. It's very different. And for a lot of youth in Ireland, they never had that.
Yeah.
You know, they never had. They would be looking at whether it's American scholars or English scholars, a lot of, but you just can't relate. It doesn't matter how much you try. The problems are different. The way, just by kind of speaking the same accent, it makes everything different. It's like, oh, I know this guy. He goes to my masjid, so okay, this is how he deals with such and such a problem. Maybe I can help, or maybe the parents see something like that. They come to you for help, and it's really great. Mentors are really important, and I think also, you know, with your organization, with your award ceremony, recognizing the legends, as you said, I think that's great motivation for the youth as well, because when you're young, a lot of the time you're not necessarily doing it for like, oh, you know, for the purest reasons, let's say.
Of course, yeah.
But when you encourage, when they see that, oh, you get a pat on the back, or I can have this, maybe boys in particular, I suppose, the influence, or I want to be like this, they get motivated by the likes of some of the speakers that are going to be there, some of the people who are going to be awarded, inshallah.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference because they see it as something positive that the community is rewarding. So it's not just kind of, it's the right kind of heroes, let's say, for the Muslim youth, rather than, you know, the wrong kind, which is very easy in this day and age, you know, in the day and age of celebrity, and it's kind of almost, you can be famous for no reason, really, you know. So I think that's very important to motivate those people. That's really, really fantastic. Has there been a lot of interest for the youth club already? Has there been a lot of people kind of registered?
We haven't opened the registration process yet, and we actually haven't. Well, we have mentioned something on our Instagram page that we're planning to do weekly activities at halaqas, and there is definitely interest, but we're going to wait till the event to do a presentation on the organization, what the plans are, what the schedule is, how people can register their children. So we will be opening registrations for the youth club at the event, inshallah. And I showed you guys the premises. We're going to have a games room, we're going to have a pool table and table tennis and a PlayStation 5. We're going to have chessboards and Monopoly and all sorts. So there'll be lots of fun activities as well as learning, you know. So like I said, we're going to be working with educators, we're going to do trips and camps, and we're going to have a very busy schedule for our members, inshallah.
No, that's amazing. It's like I said, having that kind of sense of community, it's so important for the youth, having just a place to go. They can say, okay, I can go here and socialize, and it's not haram. Do you know what I mean? That's very important, because
and for the parents as well,
100%.
to know that their children are in a safe space where they can have good friends and they can be taught things that will be beneficial to them. Like, of course, we want to teach, like we have Brother Faris Sabagh. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's someone who's known and respected in our community, who has very good ilm. He studied abroad. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to, you know, topics such as fiqh and seerah and these type of things. So he's agreed to come on board with us, alhamdulillah, as an educator. We're just kind of figuring out things. We're working around his schedule. But as well as that, we want to work with other educators that are going to teach the members real life skills that they're not going to learn in school. So, for example, you know, a friend of mine, he's an accountant. He's like, let me teach these kids things about, you know, how accounting works, the basics, like, you know, because you never know, some of them might be interested in that, and then maybe a few years later you'll find them becoming accountants. So we've got another brother, for example, who's going to be teaching them coding skills. We might be working with, I'm going to have a chat with Sister Abiola to get her on board as a someone who can come and teach the kids about, mental health. She's a psychologist, so she'll be speaking at the event, inshallah. So we want to work with a wide range of different educators. They may not necessarily be coming in here every single week, but maybe they'll come in once a month for a workshop or a seminar or something like that. So we're kind of working at the moment to create the schedule for them. Plus there'll be, trips out and all that kind of stuff, and quarterly retreats and camps during the Christmas holidays and the Easter holidays. And when the kids have time off school, we'll organize for them to go down to a youth hostel down the country, maybe for 2 or 3 nights, and have lots of activities and fun. And like I mentioned earlier on, I really understand the benefit of all this kind of work from my own experience. Like, alhamdulillah, I traveled to Egypt with a group of people. I'm not sure if I mentioned that already on the recording, but I was there in 2004 with Sheikh Mustafid and a group of 6 other brothers, and we studied Arabic together in Cairo for a whole month. And that, for me, that was a life-changing experience at that age. I was only 16 at the time. But for me, that was such an amazing experience to go and see the pyramids and go horse riding, as well as learning Arabic and going swimming in the sea. And these are memories that you create that you'll never forget. They'll be with you for your whole life. So we want to try and replicate what has been done, and inshallah try to make it even bigger and better if we can, bi'idhnillah, and alhamdulillah, all the community leaders we've sat down and we've spoken to, they're all very happy with what we're doing. And we have a number of organizations as well that are coming on board as sponsors. They're happy with the work that we're doing, and they want to be involved and they want to contribute. So alhamdulillah, it's a great community effort to kind of make this, organization and the event and everything like that materialize and become something that bi'idhnillah can serve the Muslim youth in Ireland for a long time. So
yeah, I think what you mentioned about the real life skills, it's so important to bring in professionals who have those real life skills, and because you want the youth to be integrated into society, you want you want them to be actually functional in the societies and the communities in which they live. You don't want them to be completely separated or something. That's not the goal. It's the goal to continue living with your values intact, but within these societies, because it's difficult, but it's definitely doable, and it definitely takes that kind of an effort to bring in those real life professionals and to teach them about those kind of skills. I think that's amazing, because I think one of the mistakes kind of many parents make is to completely separate their children from society altogether.
Yes.
And they think maybe that's the only way, and obviously they do it with good intentions. Yeah. But at the end, they see what's going on outside, and they see they have limited control, a limited influence over their children. Yeah. And it's very difficult. And I think this is such a massive step towards kind of doing the right thing when it comes to that. MashaAllah, may Allah make it easy, inshallah.
Ameen.
How many people are you expecting to come to the actual event?
That is an interesting question. And the real answer is Allahu A'lam. Only Allah knows the exact number. We have a 1,050-seater auditorium booked for this, so it's a very big venue. So far, we are looking at in the range of 300 to 400 tickets sold. Okay. But usually, what our community are like. People have a tendency to leave things till the last minute. I don't know if it's like that in the Pakistani community.
Yes, it is, brother.
But in the Arab community, it's like everything. They'll wake up on the day of the event and they'll be like, do I feel like going to this event today? Yes, I'll buy a ticket right now and I'll go. 100%. It's like we're asking them to commit to a mortgage or a marriage contract by spending €20 to buy a ticket in advance for an event. It's just the way it is. This is part of the culture. So we expect the last 2 to 3 days there probably will be a dramatic surge in ticket sales. So we do expect that number to go up. But so far we're looking in the range of 300 to 400 tickets sold.
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to go up, because you're not exaggerating this cultural phenomenon. Let's say it definitely is the case, and I think I don't know what it is about those set of countries, but they have that in common. They have these issues in common. Let's say that's inshallah. I definitely feel like it'll be going up towards the end.
Inshallah.
And it's interesting because we came across the event. Was it on Instagram initially?
It was on Instagram.
It was on Instagram initially. So whatever advertising you guys are doing, it's definitely working, and it's reaching the rest of the country. So that's the kind of first exposure we got, and it was interesting when I saw that. I think Hassan sent it to me from Instagram, and I thought, because there has been efforts made before, and this sort of you have a look at it, and it just they fall apart, and it's well intentioned, of course, but you see a lack of kind of support, even from an organizational perspective, a community perspective.
Yep.
And it's very clear that there's a lot of planning that's gone into this, a lot of organization. Just walking around here, it gives me so much faith, inshallah, that this is going to work out very well, inshallah.
Yeah.
And because you guys definitely have the right intention, and with that, Allah will definitely make it easy in that, inshallah.
I think that's the most important thing, regardless of the endeavor that you're undertaking. إنما الأعمال بالنيات. It's all about the intention that you're projecting, regardless of the work that you do. So that is definitely very important, and may Allah accept from all of us. That's the most important thing.
Ameen.
Yeah.
No, inshallah. Is there something in common that, kind of, for you personally, when it comes to establishing the youth club in particular, was there one problem in particular, or one group that you thought, okay, this is one of the main reasons I want to kind of bring people together? Obviously, there's common issues in every Muslim communities, but maybe specific to Ireland or something like that, that really was, this absolutely needs to be done. Kind of a major motivation for yourself personally. Is there one in particular, or many?
I'd say there's many. I'd say it's definitely more than one. There are many distractions that young Muslims are confronted with nowadays. Many potential negative paths they can take, and it's not difficult at all to take them. I mean, there's a hadith where the Prophet ﷺ says, a time will come where holding on to your faith is like holding on to hot coal. Like, imagine you get a big fire going, and then you feed lots of coal into it, and you wait for the fire to burn out, and you have that red piping hot coal, and you just imagine that in your mind. Like, would any of us be physically capable of doing that? Of course not. And I believe he was referring to the time that we live in right now, that it really is like holding hot coal to hold on to your faith. So there are many distractions. Youth are, I do have to say, like, I feel that I am fortunate to be from amongst the last generation that was raised without social media. When I was young, I had no smartphone. I had a Nokia 3310.
Same,
and I used to play Snake on that phone, and I'm like, alhamdulillah for that. Like, honestly, it's young people are being exposed to so much at such a young age nowadays, and it's quite concerning. So there's many things. There's the addiction of social media and smartphones. Then you have other issues. You have drugs, you have pornography, you have so many different issues and challenges that are young Muslims are being, young and old, but when you're younger, you don't have that life experience, you don't have that perspective, you don't have that wisdom that older people tend to have. So it's a lot easier for you to fall into something that could potentially destroy your life, So I think it's many different factors, which I think is why it's so important for this work to go ahead, So
it's interesting you talk about the Nokia 3310. I think that was my first phone, maybe, as well. I remember back in the day, I'm aging myself here, but we had the dial-up internet, so I had to
remember that, the funny sounds.
That's it. I had to be screaming to mum to, like, get off the phone because the internet wouldn't work if she wasn't on the phone. And it's funny because those hindrances, they really worked in our favor in a funny way, because to get access to pornography, to get access to that, it required effort. You know what I mean? It wasn't as easy, or there was kind of one big computer in this, in the middle of the living room, and you didn't have the privacy, and then on top of that, the dial-up internet it was difficult, and that really worked in our favor. Right now, you're born with all this stimulation. It's like everywhere, all the time, and kids so young who are exposed to phones are normalized. The likes of TikTok is normalized. So it's definitely become a lot more difficult for our generation. I suppose that was a blessing at the time. We might not have seen it as that.
But it's a great blessing.
And
I think it's important that parents are mindful of the fact that all of these social media apps, the people who designed them their number one objective was to absorb and consume as much of your time and attention as possible. You know, they really, these platforms have a very, very good understanding of how the human mind works, you know. And it's kind of sad to say, but a lot of people nowadays, especially younger people, are spending more time in a virtual reality than they are actually in the real world, you know. And I see that as quite concerning, to be honest, you know. Young people are not socializing as much as they should be. They're not, you know. Socializing is so important because you develop so much as a human being when you're interacting with so many different people. You're learning about how to communicate well. It teaches you so much. But when you're immersed in a virtual reality, looking at a screen, you're not developing those skills, you know. And I think one of the most important skills for any human being to develop is to be able to communicate and get along well with other people. That is so important. And I think a lot of young people nowadays are lacking in that area, in that department, because when we were young, you'd have to go out and play on the streets and interact with other kids and play in the grass and wrestle and get your hands dirty and mucky, and you know, that was a real childhood. But sitting at home, whether it's, you know, on the PS5 or on the Nintendo, or as far as I'm concerned, that's not a real childhood, like, you know, you're not developing the way you should be developing. No, and then that causes issues down the line as well.
Yeah, you know? And you were talking about mental health issues. That's you know, a big part of the reason why so many youngsters, especially, they're unhappy because they're not doing the socializing the way they should be. Again, I'm going to continue to age myself, but I was talking to Hassan about this the other day, that when I was growing up, I was, you know, 10, 11, 9, 10. It was, you would go out and the boredom really would force you into being creative. So you'd have, okay, these are planks of wood, let's build something out of it, or some, and it'd actually result in some pretty cool stuff or a great time, because you didn't have that access to the phone or the, you know, the internet, especially, something like that. And it was amazing, and it was that connection. You'd meet people even for an hour, and kind of you'd be buzzing off it for the rest of the day, because it was so energetic, kind of the energy exchange between the people. Now you're draining yourself, all your energy, through the phones and the internet all day, that when it comes to, like, if you go to work, you finally come home and you're with your family, it's like you're still on your phones, you know, each person is on their phone. It's very, very important, but that's one of the things that you know, really helps the youth to have a place where they socialize like that, where they interact, and they can see, going from there, oh, this was a much different experience than it was me being home alone playing PlayStation or whatever it was. Even playing PlayStation together, you know, with a group is much different. The interaction, the human connection. They said, I can't remember what study it was, but they said this group of elderly people, they said what was the biggest source of happiness over their life, and it wasn't money, you know, it wasn't all of these possessions, it wasn't anything like that. It was the social connections that they had. It was the people. And it makes sense. That's how we're kind of meant to be. We're meant to be in tribes, we're meant to be in communities, we're meant to be interacting. So, mashallah, really, I wish you guys all the best in this, because this is something that, you know, I wish I had something like this when I was younger.
Well, I did, alhamdulillah, and I realize the importance of it now.
It's important for the viewers to be able to understand this perspective as well. Because they see the other side of when the event is being arranged, and everything seems well organized and everything seems nice from their part. But on the other side, things are very different in terms of how difficult it is to arrange something like this. Have you come across any hurdles, any setbacks along the way, perhaps from the community, that you might have had to deal with? Negativity. And specifically, there's a few funny videos you've been sending out on the Instagram. One of them is to do with the price of the tickets. So talk a little bit about that, because there seems to be a few complaints about that one as well. So,
I mean, alhamdulillah, overall things have been very positive in terms of, like, you know, feedback from the community, and the vast majority of people are very happy with what we're doing. However, regardless of what you do in life, whether it's an event or opening a business or whatever it is, there's always going to be a small minority of people who are not happy, and nothing you can do will please those people. You know, there's a small percentage of people who are the doers, the movers and the shakers, and then there's the critics as well. And the critics have a tendency to be loud, and they make themselves heard and all that kind of stuff. But from my perspective, and I've been involved in community work for over a decade now, is if someone's going to criticize our work and they themselves have done nothing for the community, then as far as I'm concerned, their opinion is irrelevant. That's the way I look at it. If I know someone is coming to me genuinely and they're saying, look, I believe X, Y, Z, or this could be done. And we're all about taking on constructive criticism, feedback, because how else are you supposed to learn and grow and develop? It's an essential part of growth, but it has to be done the right way. And if certain people come forward who are people who I know for a fact they've done a lot for the community and this and that and the other, of course we'll take everything they say on board, and their perspective is very important to us. But if we have received any criticism or whatever it is about what we're doing, generally speaking it's from people who I don't even know or that have done nothing themselves for the community, so.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. That, well, first of all, there's a very big difference between productive criticism, constructive criticism, which is very valuable, versus just kind of mindlessly hating.
Yeah.
And I find, we've been we've had very unique journeys with regards to this as well, when leading as imams in Waterford, and especially when it comes to Taraweeh. From a very young age, we've had experiences where people are literally physically pushing us off, off the prayer mats. And it's funny because now we see that if anyone, like for example, you guys, you're making such a great effort. People who have gone through something themselves and they've tried to do something and they've failed and they've gotten that criticism, they will always look at people like yourselves and think, okay, good luck with that, and you're gonna do really well, because they've been through something themselves. They know that if you're gonna be a first, if you're gonna try something big, if you're gonna take a risk, there's gonna be haters, there's gonna be people mindlessly hating. There's going to be all of those. They say hate only comes from below and never above, because the people above, they've been through the same hurdles and difficulties, so they know. Yeah, I think it says a lot about people themselves. They don't realize kind of if we kind of mindlessly hate, it kind of exposes their own self quite a bit.
It's a projection, basically.
100%, 100%. So yeah, we definitely have experience with that ourselves, and that's why we're so supportive with anyone kind of making that kind of a positive effort. So inshallah, we really wish you all the best. Hassan, is there anything else you wanted to ask? I started banging on about my own. Yeah, okay.
Maybe just for to our viewers know about some of the speakers who are coming.
Yeah.
If you can just
specifically,
Yeah, inshallah. Well, we have a good few. I believe there's, including the host, there's 10 speakers. So obviously I'm one of the speakers, so inshallah I'll be talking about my experiences in humanitarian work, plus there'll be some mindset related content in there as well. I'm hoping to try to make it as engaging as possible. We have the CEO of Septimus Security who's coming. He's a young lad from Dublin. His name's Abdullah Duwaibi, and he operates an international security company now that has over 200, a team of over 200 people. They operate in 10 countries, so he's done, mashallah, very well in business. He's going to be talking about his experiences in business and entrepreneurship and giving some advice to aspiring entrepreneurs that will be there. We have Brother Ibrahim Halawa, who is going to be there, who spent 4 years of his life wrongfully imprisoned. So he's going to be talking about his experiences, plus how to be, I've asked him particularly to talk about this because I think it's a very important topic to discuss, and that is how to be resilient in the face of adversity. Because obviously what he went through is extreme adversity, because it's one thing to go to prison in Ireland, but to go to prison in Egypt, it's much tougher circumstances. As well as that, we have Sheikh Mustafid Ghani, who, as I mentioned, was my youth leader. He's still active in youth work in London, but mashallah, he's a phenomenal speaker, and he has very, very good knowledge of the deen and stuff like that. We have Sheikh Yusuf Sai, who I believe you might know. He's well known in our community. He worked in Trinity College as an assistant professor in religious studies. Then we also have Sister Abiola Mohammed, who is a psychologist. I believe she studied in Trinity as well, or I think she did her PhD in Trinity, if I'm not mistaken. So she's going to do a presentation on how young people can improve their mental health, basically, and especially in the era of social media. So I've asked her to focus on that topic because I do think it's a very important topic for young people to learn about. Then we have Sister Ela Bouassir, who is, she's done well in her field of filmmaking, journalism, so she's going to be sharing some of her experiences. And then the headliner is Muta Napoleon Beale, who's a former member of the Outlaws, which was a rap group assembled by Tupac Shakur, who's arguably the greatest rap artist in history. And he's been on an incredible journey himself to where he is today. Like, I've hosted him in Ireland twice, in 2013 and 2017, but they were for screenings of his documentary, Life of an Outlaw. So this time he's just featuring as a guest speaker. So yeah, that's pretty much as far. I don't think I've forgotten. Oh yeah, there's one more. Sorry, Sister Amila Ali will be there as well, and she is the youth coordinator for the girls in the ICCI. So she's going to be sharing some of her experiences in youth work and all the work that they've been doing. So alhamdulillah, it's a nice, diverse panel of speakers. Then we're also going to have live nasheeds as well on top of that, because we thought, given the nature of the event, we don't want it to just all be serious talks. There has to be some light-hearted fun and entertainment, and I think that's important as well. So we have Brother Mu'adh coming from the UK for that, and he'll be performing nasheeds with no musical instruments. So yeah, there's a lot to look forward to, and then we have the 2 award ceremonies. So it's a very, very hectic schedule for the day, and we're just trying our best to manage it and give the correct allocated time slots to the speakers and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much the plan in relation to the speakers. But our intention with the event going forward, we want to make it an annual event, and we want to have a brand new panel every year, so that we'll get 1 or 2 international speakers, but we want the majority to be locals. There's been so many events that have happened in the Muslim community, and there's absolutely nothing wrong. It's great to bring shiuch from the UK, from America, from these places. But I do believe it's time we start promoting our own people as well. We've got some great people in the community that have value that they can share. So we want to create a platform for these people to share their message, to share their story. Like I mentioned to you, for example, Brother Abdullah, who's done very well in business. Nobody knows his story here, except his close people, his friends and his family and a few people from the community. Nobody knows that he's a young lad from Crumlin. Do you get what I'm saying? But he has a team of over 200 people now, and he's got contracts with the European Union and the German embassy, and he's doing big things, mashallah, but these stories need to be told, and I think it's important for us to promote our own people and for the youth to be aware of who we have in our community, and perhaps in the long term that can lead to mentor-mentee relationships, because we might have young kids who are there that might say, oh look, I like what that person is doing. Now I have a direct path to follow in their footsteps, and that's one of the best ways to shorten the learning curve, is to identify a master who's already where you want to be and learn from them, rather than trying to figure it all out for yourself. You have 2 options when it comes to whatever path you want to take in life, and trying to figure it all out for yourself is the most costly, time-consuming and difficult path. So any young people out there listening, please do not try and figure it all out for yourself. There are people that have been there, they have done that, and rather than it taking you 5 or 10 years to get to where you want to go in life, if you learn from them, you can do it in 3, or you can do it in 2. It just accelerates the process significantly, So these are a few of the ideas that we have with regards to the event, and inshallah it will grow into something that will benefit Muslims across Ireland. And there's going to be non-Muslims too there as well, by the way, So perhaps there'll be some da'wah work, maybe as an indirect consequence of this event. So yeah, we appreciate the opportunity to raise awareness. I know you probably guys have followers in different parts of Ireland, and probably especially from your hometown. I believe there is a group coming up from Waterford. As far as I know, there's at least 10 people that I know that are coming up from Waterford, so maybe there could be more. But for anyone who's just hearing about the event now, we'd strongly recommend you guys to come. It's really going to be an event that you don't want to miss. And one of the things that we were saying, when we were talking about the event on social media, we were you don't want to be that person that sees the content afterwards and thinks to yourself, oh my God, how did I miss that event? You don't want to be that person, So yeah, we look forward to hosting you all on the day, inshallah, and everyone will learn, will benefit, will be inspired, and inshallah the connections and the networks will be strengthened, and bi'idhnillah will be good for all the Muslim communities in Ireland going forward.
Inshallah. And
The link to the getting the tickets for the event as well in
Yeah.
the description.
Yeah, exactly. And if you could just tell our audience your socials so they can also have access to that, and it'd be great. We'll put them in the description as well.
Yeah.
But just,
Yeah, so our main platform at the moment is Instagram, and you can find us at Young Muslims Eire.
Young Muslims Eire.
Yeah.
And this event, inshallah, will be September 17th.
Correct, Sunday, September
Inshallah.
17th, inshallah.
And
So,
tickets, well, I mean, obviously they're limited, but yeah, get them.
I mean, they're only €20. It's a youth event. We didn't want it to be expensive.
Yeah.
We want it to be affordable. I mean, €20 now gets you a kebab and a drink.
Yeah.
Because we have inflation in Ireland
Right,
now.
right,
You know, €20 perhaps could have got you a few things in a basket in a supermarket back in the days, but now you can get a kebab and a drink. So we're
That's
offering you a full day of learning and experiences and mentorship and entertainment and so many different things for the price of a kebab and a drink. So I don't think anyone can really argue with that.
No,
if you
absolutely.
go look online, go on Eventbrite and search other conferences in Ireland, you'll
absolutely.
find tickets €250, €300, €500. So, but look, it's not about the money for us. You know, we want to try and facilitate this for the youth, and we know a lot of the youth, they're not working, they don't have income, so we want the youth to be there, and hence why the prices are so low, like for this kind of event, you know.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it really is. The event is the first of its kind, and it's such a great opportunity, you know, to be at an event like that. And you talk about the price. That really is a bargain for everything you have kind of planned for the day as well, and especially kind of after seeing your facility here. It was really encouraging being shown around, and yeah, we wish you all the best, and inshallah we're very, very excited to witness this event for ourselves, inshallah, and I would encourage everyone watching to get yourselves a ticket before they run out, inshallah. Jazakallah khair for having us. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And inshallah this conversation will be continued at another date, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.